ang isang Russian soldier matapos i-headbutt ang paparating na kamikaze drone sa kanya.
Ayon sa lokal na ulat, walang kumpirmasyon kung buhay pa rin ang sundalo. Mga detalye ng balita, ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi, ako po si Rikki Mathay.
At ako si Rikki Alagao Flores, ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong Biyernes ng gabi.
Pilipinas at Singapore nanawagan para sa mapayapang resolusyon sa South China Sea.
Department of Health naka-alerto kahit walang naitalang bagong kaso ng mpox.
Petong Tan Shinawat na halal bilang pinakabatang punong ministro ng Thailand.
Taiwan yanig ng magnitude 6.1 na lindol.
At libo-libong Swifties nagtipon sa Wembley Stadium. Kapwa nanawagan ng Pilipinas at Singapore na ayusin na ang alitan sa South China Sea sa pamamagitan ng mapayapang negosasyon.
Pinag-usapan ang posisyon ng dalawang bansa sa usapin ng South China Sea sa isinagawang bilateral meeting ni na Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at Singaporean President Tharman Shanmugaratnam sa Malacanang. Sa isang joint statement, sinabi ni PBBM na ang diplomatic approach sa issue ay makapagpapababa ng tensyon sa South China Sea.
Aside from bilateral issues, we also discussed regional issues of mutual interest. As geographical neighbors in Southeast Asia, the South China Sea, West Philippine Sea holds great importance to both our countries. So we look forward to the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to maintain and to promote peace, security, and stability in the region, as well as our strong support for the peaceful resolution of any such disputes.
Tinukoy naman ni Shanmugaratnam na patuloy na naninindigan ng Singapore sa karapatan ng lahat ng estado sa freedom of navigation at overflight. Ang Pilipinas, China at ilang pang coastal states ay may sari-sariling territorial claims sa South China Sea. Samantala, patuloy namang itinatanggi ng China ang UNCLOS-based arbitration award na ipinagkaloob sa Pilipinas. Giit ng China na pag-aari nito ang vast trade route kabilang na ang katubigan ng Pilipinas sa West Philippine Sea.
Sinabi ni Budget Secretary Mena Pangandaman na ang pagtaas ng credit rating ng Pilipinas ay sumasalamin sa kumpiyansa ng mga investors sa matatag na ekonomiya ng bansa. Ayon kay Pangandaman na ang pagpapatupad ng whole-of-government approach ay may malaking papel sa pagpapabuti ng credit score ng Pilipinas. Ipinaliwanag niya na ang kalagayan ng ekonomiya ay lumalakas at nangangahulugang ang Pilipinas ay may kakayahang magbayad ng utang. At dahil po dito, nagtitiwala ang mga nagpapautang sa bansa dahil sa magandang rating natin. Dagdag pa ni Pangandaman, ito rin ay nagpapakita ng bisa ng medium-term fiscal framework ng Administrasyong Marcos para sa 2022 hanggang 2028. Kamakailan lamang itinaas ng Japan's Rating and Investment Information ang rating na Pilipinas sa A- with a stable outlook. Ipinunto nila ang katatagan ng macroeconomics ng bansa, mataas sa landas ng paglago ng ekonomiya at pagpapabuti ng fiscal balance.
Inihayag ng Department of Health o DOH na wala pang naitatalang bagong kaso ng monkeypox sa bansa. Kasunod ito ng pagdeklara ng World Health Organization bilang global health emergency ang nasabing sakit dahil sa pagdami ng kaso nito sa Africa. Sinabi ni DOH spokesperson Albert Domingo, hindi na nadagdagan ang bilang na siyam. Noong December 2023 pa ang huling kaso ng mpox na naitala ng DOH sa bansa. Giit ni Domingo na naka-alerto ang Bureau of Quarantine lalo na sa mga turista na nagmula sa kontinente ng Africa. Batay sa datos ng Africa o Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, mahigit nasa 15,000 na kaso ng mpox ang naitala sa buong kontinente, kung saan mayroong mahigit 500 katao na ang nasawi.
Mahigit sa 100 baboy na nakumpiska sa isang checkpoint sa Mindanao Avenue, Quezon City ang nagpositibo sa African Swine Fever o ASF. Kinumpirma mismo yan ng Bureau of Animal Industry. Ayon kay Agriculture Assistant Secretary for Swine and Poultry Dante Palabrica, nanggaling ang 2 truck na mga baboy sa Saria, Quezon at patungo na sana sa Pangasinan nang sila'y pigilan sa nasabing checkpoint. Anya, peke ang ipinresentang health certificates at shipping permits sa mga driver ng mga truck. Samantala, 14 sa mga baboy nilang dala ay sasailalim muna sa confirmatory test kung mayroon itong ASF. Nauna nang sinabi ng DA Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa na pinagting nila ang mga checkpoints sa iba't ibang lugar sa Metro Manila upang mapigilan ang pagkalat pa ng ASF.
Yung 2 trucks na nahuli na walang kakulang papel, parehas galing sa Sariaya papuntang Pangasinan, yung destination eventually. So, ito ay patunay lamang na mabisang paraan itong mga border control at kung hindi ito napigilan, pupunta ito dun sa mga destination nila that might cause yung pagkalat palalo ng ASF.
Thank you.
Mas naghihigpit tayo ngayon para makita natin talaga itong mga binibenta o tinatransport na baboy ay ma-check. So mabusisi, hindi, kung titingnan natin dito sa checkpoint, hindi lang yung live animals ang chine-check. Yung iba kasi from the source, kinakarni na ini-slaughter na. So dinadala as meat. So kailangan i-check din yung COMI niya, yung Certificate of Meat Inspection.
Magbibigay ang Estados Unidos o United States Agency for International Development ng pondo para sa oil spill response training sa Pilipinas. Ang nasabing pagsasanay ay magaganap sa mga buwan ng Oktubre at Nobyembre ngayong taon at ito ay pangungunahan ng United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Office of Response and Restoration. Anila, ang oil spill response training ay makatutulong sa Department of Environment and Natural Resources o Resource Biodiversity Management Bureau, partikular na sa cleanup activities sa dagat. Ang Estados Unidos ay isa sa mga unang bansa na nagbigay ng tulong sa Pilipinas upang matugunan agad ang oil spill sa Bataan. Nag-deploy ang kanilang gobyerno ng 8 eksperto mula sa NOAA. Maagap ding nag-abot ng tulong ang US Coast Guard.
Iminungkahi ni Senador Juan Miguel Zubiri ang pagtatatag ng isang cabinet cluster na tututok sa mga issue sa loob ng industriya ng turismo. Iminungkahi ni Zubiri na gayahin ang kamakailang inaprubahang modelo ng education cluster para sa turismo, kung saan ang tourism cluster ay maaaring buuin ng Department of Tourism, Transportation at iba pang departamento. Lahat ay magtutulungan upang suportahan ang mga kilalang destinasyon katulad ng Siargao at Palawan. Binigyan diin ni Zubiri ang pangangailangan na mas mataas ang atensyon at suporta upang palakasin ang paglago ng industriya ng turismo sa Pilipinas. Itinampok din niya ang malaking kontribusyon ng industriya sa ekonomiya.
Asahan na ng mga motorista ang dagdag sa presyo ng produktong petrolyo sa susunod na linggo. Batay sa pagtaya ng Department of Energy Oil Industry Management Bureau, nasa 65 sentimos hanggang 90 sentimos ang posibleng taas sa presyo ng kada litro sa gasolina. 95 sentimos hanggang 1.10 naman ang hike sa presyo ng kada litro ng diesel at kerosene. Ayon sa ahensya, ang lumalalang geopolitical tension sa Middle East at lumiit na demand forecast ng Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries ang sanhi ng banta ng oil price hike. Susunod, babala ng WHO sa pagkalat ng malalang bersyon ng mpox sa buong mundo.
Kay Tongtar Shinawatra, nahalal na bilang pinakabatang Prime Minister ng bansang Thailand.
At Estados Unidos, inaasahan pa rin ang pagpapatuloy ng peace talks sa pagitan ng Hamas at Israel. Mga balita pong yan sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Mga Kanet 25, ako po si Joey De Leon at iniimbitahan namin kayo na makitakbo na sa Net 25 Fun Run sa August 26 po yan, this year, 2024. Lunes, Monday po sa Philippine Arena, Ciudad de Victoria, Bukawi, Bulacan. Okay, isama namin yung buong pamilya at barkada. Register now by scanning this QR code sa inyong mga screen, Net 25 Fun Run. See you there.
Huwag ako.
Katakas yung tarantula eh. May solusyon, no?
Lola, wait. Tumingin ka nga dito. Oh, sandali, Lola. Ba't may pantal ka sa mukha?
Dapat clean as you were.
Anong clean as you were?
Paano sila, di ba? Dala na yung kalat nila.
Clean as you go yun, hindi yung clean as you wear.
Hindi kayo pwedeng mag-post ng mga negative reviews. Dahil ano yan? Libel and defamation. Hindi kayo kasuhan.
Ay, tigilan mo nga ako ayo! Tingnan mo, kasama yun, di ba? Sumakit din ang tiyan.
Ba't di ka pa gumagapang?
Lola, ba't nakagapang?
Eh, ano ngayong superpower ka kayo eh? Ba't nakadikit pa rin yung papel sa kamay mo?
Tigilan mo nga ako.
Dali-dali.
Nakadikit sa mukha mo na.
Pakape ka naman.
Caribbean's Net Together sa Net 25. Sa Net 25.
This portion is brought to you by 318 Automart.
Ngayong public health emergency of international concern ng sakit na mpox, nagbabala ang United Nations na may potensyal na kumalat ito lampas pa ng kontinente ng Africa. Si Anna Cui para sa report.
Noong Huwebes, binigyang diin ni United Nations Deputy Spokesman Farhan Haq ang pahayag ng World Health Organization na ang mpox virus ay isa na muling public health emergency of international concern. Kasunod nito, nagbabala ang WHO sa potensyal ng mpox virus na kumalat lampas pa sa mga bansa ng Africa at posibleng sa labas ng kontinente.
And you will have seen the announcement made by the World Health Organization yesterday, in which it determined that the surge of mpox in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and a growing number of countries in Africa constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. WHO is warning also about the potential of this mpox virus to spread further across countries in Africa and possibly outside the continent. To allow for an immediate scale-up, WHO has released $1.45 million from the WHO Contingency Fund for Emergencies. It may need to release more in the coming days. The health agency, however, anticipates an immediate funding requirement of an initial $15 million to support surveillance, preparedness, and response activities, and is working with countries and vaccine manufacturers on potential vaccine donations. The organization appeals to donors to fund the full extent of needs of the mpox response.
Pinanggit din ni Haq ang panawagan ng WHO. Noong Miyerkules, dineklara ng WHO na ang mpox ay global public health emergency na, ikalawang beses na ito sa loob ng 2 taon. Ito ay matapos kumalat ang viral infection mula sa Democratic Republic of Congo papunta sa mga kalapit bansa nito. Ang mpox ay maaaring kumalat sa malapitang contact. Kahit na kadalasang katamtaman ng sintomas, ang sakit na ito ay nakamamatay. Dala nito ang sintomas ng flu o trangkaso at mga pus-filled lesions o nagnananang mga sugat. Anna Cui para sa Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Idinaos ni Indonesian President Joko Widodo ang kanyang panghuling State of the Nation address nitong Biyernes. Binigyan din niya ang kanyang mga tagumpay sa ekonomiya, infrastruktura at pag-unlad. Tinukoy ni Joko Widodo na mas kilala sa palang Jokowi ang kanyang tagumpay sa pagpapatayo ng mga kalsada, tulay at pantalan sa buong bansa. Sa kasalukuyan, nakapagpatayo ang kanyang pamahalaan ng 2,700 kilometro ng bagong toll roads. Dagdag pa rito ang 50 bagong pantalan, mga paliparan at higit kumulang 1 milyong ektarya ng mga kanal para sa irigasyon.
Ekonomi kita terjaga di kisaran 5%. Walau banyak negara tidak tumbuh, bahkan melambat. Wilayah Indonesia Timur seperti Papua dan Maluku justru mampu tumbuh di atas 6%. Dan Maluku Utara mampu tumbuh di atas 20%. Inflasi juga terkendali di kisaran 2-3%. Saat banyak negara mengalami kenaikan yang luar biasa, bahkan ada yang mencapai lebih dari 200%.
Sinabi niyang ang pagbaba ng bilang ng mga mahihirap mula sa 6.1% hanggang sa mas mababang 1% ang pinakakapansin-pansin na tagumpay niya. Sa pagtatapos ng kanyang talumpati, humingi ng paumanhin si Jokowi sa mga tao sa Indonesia para sa anumang pagkukulang sa kanyang panunungkulan.
Inihalal na si Petongtar Shinawatra ng Parlamento ng Thailand bilang pinakabatang Prime Minister ngayong Biyernes.
นางสาวแพทองธารชินวัตรได้รับคะแนนเห็นชอบมากกว่ากึ่งหนึ่งของจำนวนสมาชิก สภาเท่าที่มีอยู่ทั้งหมดของสภาผู้แทนราษฎรครับดังนั้นจึงถือว่ามติของสภาได้เห็นชอบเพื่อเสนอแต่งตั้งนางสาวแพทองธารชินวัตรเป็นนายกรัฐมนตรีตามรัฐธรรมนูญมาตรา159ต่อไปนะครับ
Ang 37 taong gulang na anak ng kilalang politiko na si Thaksin Shinawatra ay madaling nakakuha ng boto sa kapulungan. Ngunit ngayon ay haharap naman siya sa isang matinding pagsubok. Nakataya kay Petongtar ang legacy at kinabukasan ng bilyonaryong pamilyang Shinawatra na malaki ang impluwensya sa bansa. Naipenalo ni Petongtar na ang kanyang nominasyon na may 319 na boto o halos 2/3 ng parlamento. Agad naman siyang haharap sa mga hamon sa maraming aspeto. Kabilang dito ang humihirap na ekonomiya, lumalaking kompetisyon mula sa karibal na partido at bumababang kasikatan ng PCCI Party.
Sa pahayag ni Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, susuportahan ng China ang paglipat ng Myanmar pabalik sa demokrasya at tutulungan pa ng Beijing makabangon mula sa pinagdaraan ng krisis sa kanilang bansa.
中方愿同各方一道，发出支持缅甸止战维稳、保障人民安全、反对外来干涉的共同的声音。东盟大家庭不能缺少缅甸。
Ang naturang pahayag ay binigay niya matapos ito makipagpulong sa junta chief ng Myanmar na si Min Aung Hlaing. Nangako ang China na magbibigay ng teknikal na tulong at pinansyal sa Myanmar upang matagumpay na magsagawa ng eleksyon sa susunod na taon. Sa isang regional meeting din sa Thailand, sinabi ni Yi na susuportahan ng China ang 5-point consensus peace plan na inihain ng ASEAN upang maresolba ang kasalukuyang krisis na pinagdaraanan ng Myanmar.
中方支持东盟保持自身的团结，支持落实东盟涉及缅甸的5点共识，支持东盟作为斡旋的主渠道，以东盟方式推动缅甸问题实现软着陆。我们期待各方为缅甸实现稳定、和解和发展发挥建设性的作用。
Nangako si North Korean leader Kim Jong-un na lalong patitibayan ng Pyongyang ang kanilang pakikipagtulungan sa Russia. Ginawa ni Kim Jong-un ang naturang pahayag bilang tugon sa congratulatory message na ipinadala ni President Vladimir Putin na nagmamarka sa Korean Liberation Day. Ayon kay Putin, lumalim ang kanilang ugnayan ng dalawang bansa dahil kapwa nila nakalaban ang Japan noong panahon ng digmaan. Nagsagawa ng pangalawang pagpupulong ang mga pinuno ng Estado matapos silang pumirma ng kasunduan ukol sa Comprehensive Strategic Partnership at Mutual Defense Agreement sa gitna ng dalawang bansa. Ginawa nila ito sa kabila ng akusasyon ng South Korea, Ukraine at Estados Unidos na nagbebenta ng armas ang North Korea sa Russia upang gamitin sa Ukraine. Bumisita si Kim Jong-un sa bantayog ng North para kilalanin ang mga sundalong nakipaglaban para sa kalayaan ng Korea.
Sinabi naman ni Kremlin aide Nikolai Patrushev ngayong Biyernes ang direktang sangkot ang NATO at West sa pagpaplano ng pag-atake ng Ukraine sa rehiyon ng Kursk sa Russia. Binigyan diin ni Patrushev na hindi totoo ang mga pahayag ng Estados Unidos na hindi sila sangkot sa pag-atake. Kamakailan lamang na naglabas ng footage ang Ministry of Defense ng Russia na nagpapakita ng mga armas ng US sa Kursk. Sinabi ni Patrushev na ang operasyon sa rehiyon ng Kursk ay pinalano sa pakikilahok ng NATO at mga special service ng West. Dagdag pa niyang kung wala ang kanilang pakikilahok at direktang suporta, hindi maglalakas loob ang Kiev na pumasok sa teritoryo ng Russia.
Nagdeklara ng state of emergency sa rehiyon ng Belgorod sa border ng Russia kasunod ng mga pag-atake ng puwersa ng Ukraine. Sinabi ni Belgorod Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov na napakahirap ng sitwasyon dahil sa araw-araw na pagbobomba sa rehiyon. Anya, ilang mga bahay at gusali na ang nasira, may mga namatay na rin at maraming nasugatan sa patuloy na pagbobomba ng Ukraine. Ito ang ikalawang rehiyon sa loob ng teritoryo ng Russia na nagdeklara ng state of emergency kasunod ng Kursk. Sinabi ni Governor Gladkov na siya ay mag-aapela sa pamahalaan upang ideklara ang emergency sa federal na antas tulad ng sa Kursk.
У нас с вами желтый уровень, у нас режим повышенной готовности, у нас КТО, у нас режим ЧС. Да? То есть вот в таком формате абсолютно очевидно еще не жил ни один регион. Но для нас главное это и то, что требуют люди, то, что требует от нас президент, да, это обеспечение безопасности людей.
Tiranggihan ng Venezuelan opposition ang suhestyon ni US President Joe Biden at Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva na magsagawa ng isa pang eleksyon.
Se a gente tiver resultado, esse resultado for factível, nós vamos tratar de saber o seguinte: o Maduro tem 6 meses de mandato ainda. O mandato dele só termina em janeiro do ano que vem. Então ele é o presidente da República, independentemente das eleições. Então, se ele tiver bom senso, ele poderia tentar fazer uma conclamação ao povo da Venezuela, quem sabe até convocar uma novas eleições, estabelecer um critério de participação de todos os candidatos.
Inendorso ni Biden ang hamon ni President Lula na magsagawa ng isa pang eleksyon na may international observers bilang potensyal na solusyon sa gulo na dinaranas ng Venezuela sa ngayon. Nakikiisa ang Estados Unidos sa iba't ibang bansa na nananawagang ilabas ng administrasyon ng Venezuela ang opisyal na resulta ng eleksyon bago nila formal na kilalanin si Maduro bilang president-elect. Isa lamang sila sa bansang nagpataw ng parusa sa nasabing bansa para sa mga paulit-ulit nilang paglabag sa international laws at ang patuloy niyang pakikipag-alitan sa kanyang mga kapwa-pinuno ng Estado. Tinanggihan naman ni Venezuelan Opposition Leader Maria Corina Machado ang posibilidad na magsagawa ng pangalawang eleksyon buhat ng kanyang pagpilit na sila ang tunay na nanalo sa naganap na eleksyon.
Bueno, con relación al primer planteamiento, yo les pregunto a ustedes, se va a una segunda elección y si no les gustan los resultados, que vamos una tercera, una cuarta, una quinta, hasta que les gusten los resultados a Maduro. ¿Aceptarían eso ustedes en sus países? Que si el resultado no es satisfactorio, entonces se repite una elección. Nosotros fuimos una elección con las reglas de la tiranía. Mucha gente me dijo que estábamos locos, que nos estábamos arriesgando y que iba a haber un fraude monumental que no íbamos a poder probar. Y nosotros confiamos en la organización ciudadana. Y hubo gente que arriesgó su vida, su familia, su hogar, y otros fueron asesinados. Hoy en día están presos, escondidos o han tenido que huir del país. Plantear desconocer lo ocurrido el 28 de julio, para mí es una falta de respeto a los venezolanos que han dado todo y que expresaron la soberanía popular. La soberanía popular se respeta y las elecciones ya ocurrieron.
Muling sinabi ng Estados Unidos na umaasa pa rin ito na umusad na ang Gaza peace talks. Narito ang mga detalye mula kay Jeff Sanidad.
Ayon kay State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel, umaasa ang Biden administration na magpapatuloy ang pag-uusap sa pagitan ng Israel at Hamas at mauuwi ito sa kasunduan.
We believe that there has been headway made, but we need to finalize this agreement, continue to close and bridge some gaps. But we believe that an agreement is possible, and that's something that we're going to continue to work between the parties.
Sa pagpapatuloy ng labanan at sa pinakahuling pag-uusap na pinangungunahan ng Egypt at Qatar, sinabi ng Hamas na walang hudyat ng pag-usad mula sa Israel. Dagdag pa ng militanteng grupo na kailangang kumbinsihin na ng mga tagapag-ugnay ang Israel na tanggapin ang ceasefire proposal na binase sa mga ideya ni Pangulong Biden na tinanggap na ng Hamas. Kaugnay na balita, noong Lunes din nanawagan sa United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres sa Israel at Hamas na magkasundo na ukol sa ceasefire deal. Sinabi ni UN spokesperson Farhan Haq na nais rin ni Guterres na tiyakin ang kaligtasan ng mga sibilyan at ang walang hadlang na pagpasok ng humanitarian aid sa kabuuan ng Gaza.
He welcomes the mediation efforts of the United States, Egypt, and Qatar leaders and urges both sides to rejoin negotiations and conclude the ceasefire and hostages release deal. The Secretary General reiterates his urgent appeal for an immediate ceasefire and the unconditional release of all hostages. He also again underscores the need to ensure the protection of civilians and for unimpeded and safe humanitarian access into and across Gaza.
Jeff Sanidad para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Noong Huwebes, nagpababa ang Estados Unidos ng halos 80% sa mga presyo ng 10 pangunahing prescription drugs na gamit ng Medicare. Ang Medicare ay isang federal health insurance program sa US para sa mga may edad na 65 pataas at mga taong may kapansanan. Umaasa ang administrasyon na makatitipid ito ng $6 na bilyong, isang hakbang na ipinagmamalaki at pinuri ni US President Joe Biden at ng kanyang Vice Presidente na si Kamala Harris. NJ de Guzman para sa balita.
Layo na pakalmahin ang galit ng mga mamamayan ukol sa taas ng bilihin dito sa Amerika bago ang presidential election sa Nobyembre, ibinida ni Pangulong Joe Biden at ni Vice President Kamala Harris ang mas mababa ng presyo ng top 10 Medicare medications sa bansa. Ang panibagong mga presyo ay magiging epektibo mula sa taong 2026. Ang Inflation Reduction Act ni Biden na naging batas noong 2022, ang kauna-unahang batas na papayagang makipag-negotiate ang Medicare sa presyo ng pinakamahal na mga gamot na ginagamit ng may 66 na milyong mga tao sa bansa. Naipasa ang panukalang batas na ito ng tie-breaking Senate vote ni Harris ukol sa drug price negotiations na hindi sinuportahan ng ni isang Republican.
Why are prescription drugs so expensive? I will tell you. Well, one big reason is for years, Big Pharma has often inflated the price of life-saving medications. Often charging many times what it would cost to make just to increase their profits. And millions of Americans have suffered as a result.
Hindi man opisyal na campaign event, ginamit ito ni Biden upang ibida rin si Harris at upang patamaan ang Republicans sa hindi nito pagsuporta sa karapatan ng Medicare na makipag-negotiate para sa presyo ng mga gamot.
Kamala and I are going to keep fighting to lower the prescription drug costs for everyone, not just seniors. It's a fight that we have to continue.
NJ De Guzman para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Ayon sa media sources, pinaplano ni Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris na dumistansya sa Bidenomics ni US President Joe Biden. Ang Bidenomics ay ang economic policy ng administrasyon ni Biden, kabilang dito ang mga COVID-19 vaccination programs, mga pamumuhunan sa infrastruktura at pagpapalakas ng social safety net. Ang sistemang ito ay pinupondahan sa pamamagitan ng pagpapataw ng mataas na buwis sa mga higher income individuals at mga korporasyon. Para sa ilang ekonomista ay maganda ang layunin ng polisiya ni Biden, ngunit marami rin naman ang mga bumabatikos rito dahil lalo raw tumaas ang cost of living sa Estados Unidos. Dahil rito, nais ni Harris na huwag daw mapansin ng publiko na kabilang siya sa Bidenomics. Subalit, ayaw din umano ni Harris na malaman ng publiko ang kanyang plano na dumistansya sa mga polisiya ni Biden. Ayon pa sa sources, ang pagdistansya sa Bidenomics ay isang pagsisikap ng campaign team ni Harris na baguhin ang imahe nito bilang official Democratic presidential candidate para sa November elections.
Ibinunyag ng mga media sources na humingi ng tulong si Hunter Biden sa US State Department upang selyuhan umano ang isang business deal nito sa Ukraine. Nangyari ang nasabing insidente taong 2016 o noong panahong nanunungkulan pa si Joe Biden bilang Vice President ng Estados Unidos. Ayon sa report, nagpadala si Hunter ng isang sulat sa US Ambassador to Italy dahil nahihirapan umano itong kumuha ng regulatory approval para sa kanyang energy project sa Ukraine. Sinabi ng mga legal experts, ang nasabing revelasyon ay lalong magtutulak sa mga Republicans na imbestigahan si Hunter at buong pamilya ni President Biden. Pinabulaanan naman agad ng White House na may kanilaman si President Biden sa business dealings at pakikiusap ni Hunter sa State Department noon.
What I've said before is that the president has never done business with his son, and he was not aware of this. And for anything further, I would have to refer you to Hunter Biden's personal representatives. I can't speak beyond that. But again, I've said this before, the president was not in business with his son, and this is the first time, he was not aware of this. And for anything further, you would have to reach out to Biden.
Isang Russian soldier ng headbutt ng kamikaze drone.
Google naglabas ng sariling AI na tinawag nilang Imagen 3.
At 5 katao kinasuhan sa pagkamatay ng Friends actor na si Mathay. Mga detalye ng mga balita sa pagbabalik na Mata ng Agila International.
Of it all is the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI. We have the distinct honor of a conversation with the president of PCCI, Consul Nina Mangio. We'll dive deep, explore exciting growth opportunities, and gain insights into the PCCI's vision for the future.
We try to enhance all the business sectors to sustain the growth of the businesses. We want our SMEs to be part of our movement.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos.
Sunnet 25.
Nat 25, ako po si Starcada Via Lorica at iniimbitahan ko po kayo na makitakbo na sa Nat 25 Fun Run sa August 26, 2024. Monday po yan sa Philippine Arena, Ciudad de Victoria, Bukawi, Bulacan. Isama na ang inyong buong pamilya at barkada at saka mag-register now by scanning this QR code na nakikita ninyo sa mga screen. Nat 25 Fun Run, see you there!
Sweden ang kailang unang kaso ng isang nakamamatay na strain ng mpox ngayong Biyernes na siyang kauna-unahang kaso sa labas ng Afrika.
Vi har också nu under eftermiddagen fått bekräftat att vi har ett fall i Sverige av den allvarligare typen av mpox, den som heter clade 1. Det är förstås någonting vi tar på allvar. Samtidigt är det här ett arbete som hälso- och sjukvården och de regionala smittskyddsenheterna kan och har upparbetade rutiner och system för att hantera.
Naganap ito isang araw lamang matapos ideklara ng World Health Organization o WHO na ang virus na ito ay isang public health emergency.
It's clear that a coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks and save lives. A public health emergency of international concern is the highest level of alarm under international health law.
Ang mpox po na dating kilala bilang monkeypox ay isang lubhang nakakahawang sakit na unang natuklasan sa mga unggoy na ginagamit para sa research noong taong 1958. Naiulat ang unang kaso sa tao taong 1970 sa parehong bansa na kasalukuyang nakararanas ng outbreak ang Democratic Republic of the Congo o DRC. Sa loob ng mga dekada, nagdulot ang mpox sa mga sporadic na kaso at outbreak sa DRC, Nigeria at ilang iba pang bansa sa kontinente ng Afrika. Subalit, noong 2022, ang mga bansa sa labas ng Afrika, kabilang na ang marami na hindi pa nakararanas sa virus na ito, ay biglang nagsimulang magtala ng mga kaso. Noong taong yun, idineklara ng WHO ang pandemya bilang isang public health emergency of international concern sa unang pagkakataon. Mahigit 90,000 na mga kaso ng mpox ang naitala noon sa loob ng isang taon. Maaari ring mangyari muli ang pandemya na ito dahil sa bagong strain na umaabot na sa Sweden at sa 3 pang kumpirmadong kaso sa Pakistan naman. Ipinaliwanag ng mga opisyal ng public health na ang isang kumpirmadong kaso sa Sweden ay malamang na magpapahiwatig ng dose-dose ng hindi pa nakahanap ng mga kaso sa iba pang bahagi naman ng Europa. Gayon din, ang mga kaso sa Pakistan ay maaaring magpahiwatig ng daan-daang hindi pa rin nahahanap ng mga kaso sa mga kalapit na bansa, katulad na lamang po ng India at Iran. Ang mpox ay maaaring magdulot ng lagnat, pantal at mga sugat, matinding sakit ng ulo, pagkapagod at ilan ay nakararanas ng kahirapan sa paghinga, pati na rin ang sepsis o pagkalaso ng dugo. Ang pinakakaraniwang sintomas ng mpox ay mga pantal na parang paltos na karaniwang tumatagal po ng 2 hanggang 4 na linggo. Ito ay maaaring kumalat sa pamamagitan ng pagdikit sa mga taong nahawaan na, infected na mga hayop o maging sa mga materyales o mula sa isang buntis patungo sa kanyang hindi pa isinisilang na sanggol. Ang mga palatandaan at sintomas ay karaniwang nagsisimula sa loob ng 1 linggo, subalit maaari magsimula sa 1 hanggang 21 araw pagkatapos ng pagkakalantad. Ang bagong bersyon ng mpox ay kilala na mas indiscriminate kumpara sa mga naunang strain at ngayon ay mas mabilis na kumakalat sa buong populasyon.
Alors, on dit ça qui kena jala contaminé. Si manango pe bana nanga misato bazwaki. Oya liboso kuna nasalisaki yawo. Esilaki. Ba oya mikende ebongaki te tokenda ina biko. Juste après 2 semaines tobimi. Après 1 semaine encore, mwasi na nga pa ye kotombe malade.
Sa kasalukuyang taon po, mayroong mahigit 17,000 na mga kaso sa mahigit 75 mga bansa sa buong mundo. Ito ay higit pa sa 15,000 na mga kaso na naitalap para sa buong taon ng 2023. Sa Hunyo hanggang Hulyo pa lamang, nagkaroon na ng 77% na pagtaas ng mga kaso ng mpox. Ayon po yan mismo sa WHO. Ang variant ng mpox na ito ay kilala rin mas nakamamatay kumpara sa naunang outbreak noong taong 2022. 207 na mga tao ang naitalang namatay sa outbreak noong 2022, habang mahigit 1,000 nang namatay sa outbreak ngayon sa DRC. Bukod pa rito, higit sa kalahati ng mga apektado ay mga bata. Isa sa pinakamalaking risk factors para sa matinding impeksyon ng mpox at pagkamatay ay ang pre-existing HIV infection. At sa Africa, mahigit 25 milyon na katao ang may HIV, higit pa sa anumang ibang rehiyon sa buong mundo. Naku, ibig po sabihin niyan, maraming bansa sa Africa ang maaaring makaranas ng mas nakamamatay na mga outbreak kumpara sa ibang bahagi ng daigdig. Kasama na rito ang kasalukuyang mabilis na pagkalat ng mpox sa kontinente. May bakuna naman po para sa mpox at kasalukuyang may 200,000 doses na available sa Africa. Subalit, ayon sa Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention o Africa CDC, hanggang 10 million doses ang kailangan para maibsan ang emergency. Mayroong hindi bababa sa 2 bakuna na posibleng gamitin. Ang isa ay Jynneos o Imvanex sa Europe na gawas ng isang Danish company na tinatawag na Bavarian Nordic. Ang isa pa ay ang LC16 na ginawa naman ng isang Japanese company na tinatawag na KM Biologics. Parehong epektibo naman ang 2 bakuna laban sa mpox, subalit hindi pa malinaw kung gaano nga ba ito ka-epektibo para sa bagong nakamamatay na variant. Ngunit hindi pa rin malinaw kung ang mga bagong emergency designations ay magkakaroon ng anumang epekto sa availability ng mpox vaccine. Bukod pa po rito, iniulat ng Africa CDC na iwasan muna ang pakikipagkita sa mga posibleng infected na ng virus, mas lalo na sa mga pagtitipon na may maraming tao. Binigyan din rin nila ang pag-iwas sa mga tao na mayroong rashes, mga pimples, blisters o scabs na posibleng dahil sa mpox, at huwag ring hawakan ang mga bagay na ginamit ng mga infected. Madalas ding maghugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig, mas lalo na bago kumain o bago hawakan ang inyong mukha. Ngunit, pangunahin pa rin ang bakuna upang maiwasan na mahawa sa mpox. Sa deklarasyon ng isang public health emergency of international concern, umaasa ang WHO at Africa CDC na mapabilis ang pagsubok at paghahatid ng mga bakuna sa mga apektadong bansa. Kamakailan lamang naglabas ang African Union na mahigit 10 milyong dolyar na pondo para sa mpox response. Habang ang WHO ay nangako ng hindi bababa sa higit 1 milyong dolyar sa emergency funds at posibleng karagdagang pondo sa paparating pa na mga susunod na araw. Sa kasalukuyan, dedepende na lamang sa kung gaano kabilis o gaano katagal ang responde sa internasyonal na komunidad. Kapag na-delay ang tulong o paghanda rito, posibleng lumala ang pagkalat ng mpox, hindi lamang sa Africa, kundi maging sa buong mundo.
Sa ibang balita, niyanig ng magnitude 6.1 na lindol ang Taiwan ngayong araw ng Biyernes, dakong alas 7 ng umaga. Ayon sa United States Geological Survey o USGS, ang sentro ng pagyanig ay naitala 15 kilometro mula sa syudad ng Hualien. Kasunod nito ay isang mobile phone alert na inilabas para sa publiko na manatiling kalmado at mag-ingat sa posibleng aftershocks. Bukod rito ay 2 tao naman ang nailigtas. Sa elevator, ito ay matapos makulong habang lumilindol. Samantala, sinabi ng National Fire Agency na walang naiulat na matinding pinsala mula sa naging pagyanig. Naniniwala ang mga climate experts na ang mga wildfires sa Athens, Greece ay pinalala ng matinding init at paglawak ng urbanisasyon sa nasabing lugar. Narito ang report ni Bruce Balmeo.
Sinasabing pinalalala ng mahabang heatwave ngayong summer at ng paglawak ng urbanisasyon sa mga bulubundukin ang umaapoy na wildfires sa paligid ng Athens. Ngayong linggo, dahil sa hindi makontrol na sunog, isang babae na ang namatay. Dose-dose ng mga gusali ang natusta, malawak na kagubatan ang naabo at libo-libong mga tao ang napilitang lumikas. Taon-taon, ang wildfires ay hindi bagong bagay kapag summer sa Greece. Ngunit dahil sa climate change, mas uminit ang panahon at kumonti ang ulan, kung kaya't mas mahirap pukawin ngayon ang apoy. Nagkaroon ng pinakamainit na naitalang winter ang Greece ngayong taon. At ngayon nga ay dumaranas ng pinakamainit na summer din. Ayon sa Greece National Observatory, 10,000 ektarya na ng lupa ang napinsala ng sunog. At hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa alam ang dahilan. Samantala, isinisi ni United Nations Chief Heat Officer Eleni Mirivili ang sitwasyon sa pagkalat ng urbanisasyon sa Athens nitong nakaraang na dekada. Ibig sabihin, ang dating mga kagubatan ay tinatayuan na ng mga bahay ngayon. Ayon kay Mirivili, nagtayo ang bansa ng mga lungsod na maaaring hindi sa tamang lugar at hindi tamang tipo. At dahil dito, dinaranas ng bansa ang masamang epekto nito. Ayon sa opisyal, makatutulong ang pinahusay na forest management upang mabawasan ang peligrong maidudulot ng mainit na taon sa hinaharap. Naka-high alert pa rin ang bansa hanggang Huwebes at inaasahang lalakas ang hangin sa mga darating na araw. Ang heatwave sa buong mundo ay tumitindi at tumatagal dahil sa climate change na dulot ng pagsunog ng coal, langis at gas. Bruce Balmeo para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Kanselado ngayon ang nasa 50 mga biyahe sa Spain. Ito po ay matapos tamaan ng matinding bagyo ang nasabing bansa. Ayon sa Spanish airport operator ANA, ay magpapatuloy pa rin ang pagkaantala ng mga biyahe dahil sa masamang lagay ng panahon. Bunsod ng mga malakas sa pag-ulan, lubog pa rin sa tubig baha ang mga kalsada sa Balearic Islands. Kasunod ito ng presahang ilikas ang nasa 29 ng mga residente sa Palma de Mallorca, pati na rin ang nasa 12 mga tao mula sa bayan ng Soler. Dagdag pa rito, aabot na sa 180 tawag ang natatanggap ng Regional Emergency Service mula sa mga residente na humihingi ng tulong. Samantala, nagpadala na ang Spanish Emergency Military Unit ng ilan sa mga tauhan nito sa mga lugar para maghatid ng tulong at suporta sa mga biktima ng bagyo.
Paalala po, huwag pong gagayahin ang makikita sa videong ito. Nakaligtas kasi ang isang Russian soldier matapos i-headbutt ang paparating na kamikaze drone sa kanya. Kita sa video ang isang lalaki na nakauniforme na mabilis na gumagapang patungo sa isang exit nang dumating ang drone sa kinilalagyan niya. Tumayo ang sundalo at hinarap ng walang takot ang kamikaze drone. Bago tuluyang tumama ang drone ay iniuntog niya ang kanyang ulo rito habang suot ang isang helmet. Dito na sumabog ang drone. Nang nahawi ang usok ay makikitang ligtas na naglalakad ang sundalo.
Napanood niyo na po ba ang Swan Lake sa North Pole? Aba, ay maswerte po kayo at matutunghayan nyo si Daria Pencheva na i-perform sa North Pole ang tanyag na Swan Lake ni Peter Chafkovsky. Si Pencheva ang isang cruise firm manager sa Polar Travel Club. May hobby rin siya na sumayaw. Bilang isang ballerina ay isang karangalan kay Pencheva na sayawin ang parte ni Princess Odette sa Swan Lake. Ayon sa Polar Travel Club, nakuna ng video noong July sa harap ng nuclear-powered icebreaker ship na 50 let poverty of 50 years of victory.
Susunod, North Korea magbubukas muli ng border para sa mga turista matapos ang 5 taon.
Libo-libong Swifties nagtipon muli sa Wembley Stadium sa London.
At abangan ang iba pang mga istorya pagdating ni Alma Angeles at ng Net25 World News. Iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik pa rin ng Mata ng Agila International.
Net 25, ako po si Archie Alimanya at iniimbitahan po namin kayo na makitakbo na sa Net 25 Fun Run sa August 26, 2024. Monday po yan sa Philippine Arena, Ciudad de Victoria, Bocaue, Bulacan. Ako, masaya to. Kaya ano pang ginagawa nyo? Isama nyo na ang buong pamilya, buong barkada at lahat ng inyong kakilala. Kaya mag-register na po by scanning this QR code sa inyong screen. Net 25 Fun Run 2024 is gonna be fun. I'll see you out there, guys.
Whether you're a seasoned athlete or a runner for fun, the Net25 Family Fun Run is for you. With the following run categories: 1K, 3K, 5K, and 10K. Everyone has a reason to run. Simply scan the QR code to secure your spot, and you're done. See you at the Philippine Arena Complex this August 26, 2024. Let's run together with Net25.
Dalawang doktor at 3 iba pa ang kinasuhan noong Huwebes kaugnay ng pagkamatay ni Friends actor Matthew Perry. Inakusahang sangkot ang 5 sa pagsusuplay ng labis-labis na ketamine sa aktor. Ang ketamine ay isang malakas na gamot pampakalma na sinasabing dahilan ng pagkamatay ni Perry noong 1 taon. Bernhard Gonzaga para sa balita.
Ang defendants kabilang ang isang babae na kilala sa Los Angeles na ketamine queen ay bahagi ng isang malawak na criminal network na nagtutulak ng drogang ketamine sa aktor at sa iba pa. Ayon kay United States Attorney Martin Estrada, sinamantala ng defendants ang addiction ni Perry para sa kanilang sariling kapakanan.
This network included a live-in assistant, various go-betweens, 2 medical doctors, and a major source of drug supply known as, quote, the ketamine queen. We charged 5 defendants in this matter. These defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew what they were doing was risking great danger to Mr. Perry, but they did it anyways.
Ayon kay Estrada, patay sa autopsy, namatay si Perry dahil sa matinding epekto ng ketamine.
An autopsy was conducted following his death. That autopsy showed that he had died due to the acute effects of ketamine. Ketamine is a controlled substance. It has some legitimate uses, but it is also used illegally.
Ayon naman kay U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, Administrator Ann Milgram, ang bawat nasasagdal ay may papel na ginampanan sa maling pagre-reseta, pagbebenta at pagtuturok ng ketamine sa aktor na kalaunan ay ikinamatay nito.
In the United States, most forms of ketamine are only approved by the Food and Drug Administration for anesthesia. A nasal spray version is approved for treatment of depression, but only in a certified medical setting. Here, Matthew Perry sought treatment for depression and anxiety and went to a local clinic where he became addicted to intravenous ketamine. When clinic doctors refused to increase his dosage, he turned to unscrupulous doctors who saw Perry as a way to make quick money. They supplied Matthew Perry with large amounts of ketamine in exchange for large sums of money. charging Perry $2,000 for a vial that cost Dr. Chavez approximately $12. As Matthew Perry's ketamine addiction grew, he wanted more, and he wanted it faster and cheaper. That is how he ended up buying from street dealers who sold the ketamine that ultimately led to his death.
Dalawa sa mga suspect ay inaresto na naka-schedule na i-arraign. Namatay si Perry sa edad na 54. Dahil sa epekto ng ketamine, nawala ng malay si Perry, nadulas at pumailalim sa tubig ng hot tub sa kanyang tahanan sa Los Angeles. Kabilang din sa mga dahilan ng kanyang pagkamatay ay pagkalunod, coronary artery disease at mga epekto ng addiction sa opioid na buprenorphine na nakita rin sa kanyang sistema. Bernhard Gonzaga para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nakaharap po ngayon ang singer-songwriter na si Katy Perry sa isang investigasyon sa bansang Espanya. Ito ay dahil sa music video niyang Lifetimes na shoot pa sa Balearic Islands. Ayon sa mga otoridad, hindi kumuha ng permiso ang production company na responsable sa music video recording ni Perry. Anila, ang Balearic Islands ay isang natural and protected park and wildlife, kaya dapat ay may permiso ang sinumang may shooting doon. Nilinaw naman ng mga otoridad na hindi criminal inquest ang kailang isinasagawa kung hindi ito ay isang administrative violation lamang.
Bubuksang muli ng North Korea ang isa sa mga syudad nito sa mga turista. Ito ay matapos ang 5 taong paghihigpit. Inanunsyo ng mga opisyal sa North Korea na papayagan na ang mga turista na bumisita sa nilagang o hilagang bahagi ng syudad ng Samjiyon. Matatagpuan ang Samjiyon sa ibabang bahagi ng Mountain Peak 2 na tampok sa winter attractions. Nagsimula ang paghihigpit sa mga turista nang tumama ang pandemya noong taong 2020 dahilan para tuluyang isara ang border ng lugar. Kasunod nito ay natigil naman ang pag-angat ng mga pangunahing produkto na nauwi sa kakulangan ng pagkain. Samantala, inaalam pa kung ang pagbubukas ay para sa lahat ng turista sa buong mundo o ito ba ay para sa mga kaalyado lamang nila ng mga bansa.
Noong Huwebes, libu-libang Swifties ang sabik na nagtipon sa Wembley Stadium sa London upang makita muling magtanghal si Taylor Swift. Ito ay matapos makansela ang kanyang concert sa Vienna dahil sa isang terror scare. Jessica Bautista para sa balita.
Noong isang linggo, kinansila ang Taylor Swift The Eras Tour matapos ang banta ng isang Islamic State-inspired na pag-atake. Sa kabila nito, nagtungo pa rin ang mga tagahanga ni Swift sa kabisera ng Britanya upang makita ang megastar. Bagaman sinabi ng pulisya ng Britanya na walang indikasyon na ang mga kaganapan sa Vienna ay makaaapekto sa mga palabas sa Wembley, pinaigting pa rin ang seguridad sa stadium. Makakapasok lamang ang fans matapos makalampas sa metal detectors at pinapayagan lamang magdala ng isang maliit na bag. Subalit, ang tailgating o ang pagtitipon sa labas ng isang Swift show nang walang tiket tulad ng ginawa ng libo-libo sa Munich ay sinabing hindi papayagan. Ang palabas ni Swift sa Wembley ay ang una sa 5 petsa sa London bago siya bumalik at ang kanyang tour sa Amerika. Jessica Bautista para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nako, relate ka ba, Rikki? Tingin ko, kapag diehard na Swiftie ka, talagang hindi ka paaawat, kahit na nandyan yung pangamba na baka ganito, baka ganon, go ka pa din. Kasi syempre, Taylor Swift yan. Parang ganon.
Naku, oo nga. Naku, kung magiging Swiftin kami ni Nina, kakabalita natin kay Taylor
On the way
Swift.
na, on the way.
Oo, malapit na. At akalain nyo, malapit na rin, di ba?
Oo,
malapit na matapos sa
Abot
isa na naman
kamay
linggo,
na.
ilang oras na lang. Dahil akalaan nyo, weekend na naman. Subalit, tandaan, mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, narito po kami para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako na mundo. Happy weekend, everybody. Ako po muli si Rikki Mathay.
Ako naman si Nina Rikki, Alagao, Flores, na bumabati rin ng happy weekend sa inyo pong lahat. Ito ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga balitang nangyari sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta naman tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Net 25 World News. Take it away, Alma.
Nina and Rikki. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching Net25 World News. On tonight's headlines. A powerful typhoon is wreaking havoc in Japan, forcing hundreds of flight cancellations and prompting evacuation orders for thousands of residents. And Thailand's parliament has elected Paetongtarn Shinawatra as the country's new prime minister. At 37, she will be the youngest person to ever hold the office and only the second woman, following her aunt Yingluck Shinawatra. The news starts now. A powerful typhoon is wreaking havoc in Japan, forcing hundreds of flight cancellations and prompting evacuation orders for thousands of residents. Typhoon Ampil, packing winds of up to 134 miles per hour, is bearing down on the Tokyo area, disrupting the middle of a major summer holiday. The Japan Meteorological Agency has issued a severe weather warning for the Kanto region, including the capital. Authorities in Mobara City, Chiba Prefecture, have ordered nearly 19,000 people to evacuate as the typhoon approaches. Other cities are urging residents to stay indoors and avoid unnecessary travel. The storm has already caused widespread power outages, with more than 2,000 homes losing electricity. Major airlines, ANA and Japan Airlines, have grounded hundreds of flights, leaving tens of thousands of passengers stranded. Even the high-speed Shinkansen bullet train service between Tokyo and Nagoya has been suspended. A powerful 6.3 magnitude earthquake rocked Taiwan this morning. The tremor struck about 21 miles off the coast of Hualien. And so far, there are no reports of major damage. Surveillance video captured the frightening moment the quake hit, showing lights swaying and objects falling inside buildings. Meteorologists are warning residents to brace for more shaking. They say aftershocks as strong as magnitude 5.5 could hit the area in the coming days. At least a dozen smaller quakes have already been recorded since the main tremor. South Korea is sweltering under a record-breaking heat wave. Temperatures have soared to dangerous levels, prompting heat warnings across the country. It's been hotter than usual for weeks, with nights barely offering relief. In fact, many cities have been experiencing tropical nights where temperatures drop below 25 degrees Celsius even at night. Busan has already tied its record for the longest stretch of tropical nights, and Seoul is close behind. Now, according to the Korean Meteorological Administration, this scorching weather is expected to last for at least another 10 days. China is stepping up its guard against the mpox virus. The country's customs agency says it will closely monitor people and goods coming into the country for the next 6 months. And this comes after the World Health Organization declared mpox a global health emergency for the second time. Travelers from countries with mpox outbreaks must now declare their health status to customs officials. Vehicles and cargo from affected areas will also undergo stricter sanitation measures. China has classified mpox as a serious infectious disease, allowing for tough controls like lockdowns and quarantines if needed. Sweden has confirmed the first case of the more dangerous Clade 1 mpox variant outside of Africa. The confirmation comes just a day after the World Health Organization declared a global public health emergency due to the escalating outbreak. The infected individual had recently returned from an African region grappling with a significant mpox epidemic.
Vi har också nu under eftermiddagen fått bekräftat att vi har ett fall i Sverige av den allvarligare typen av mpox, den som heter Clade 1. Det är förstås någonting vi tar på allvar. Samtidigt är det här ett arbete som hälso- och sjukvården och de regionala smittskyddsenheterna kan och har upparbetade rutiner och system för att hantera.
Clade 1 mpox is known for its higher mortality rate and more severe symptoms compared to the Clade 2 variant that primarily fueled the 2022 global outbreak. Symptoms typically include high fever, severe headache, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, and widespread, often scarring rash. Pakistan is also investigating multiple suspected mpox cases with at least one confirmed infection linked to travel from a Gulf country. Health officials are working to determine the specific mpox variant involved in these cases. The emergence of the more transmissible Clade 1 variant has intensified global concerns about the disease, while the World Health Organization has advised against travel restrictions.
From the IFRC side, we do stand with what is recommended under international health regulations, which is that there's no need to close borders when we are in disease outbreaks. Diseases don't recognize borders. People will continue to cross a border, whether it is a legal crossing or an illegal crossing. It doesn't stop a disease from spreading.
It's about knowing that you have it, knowing what to look for, knowing how to separate each other and to do proper contact tracing and not being afraid. So there's always a balance, but not being sort of terrified. It's more a matter of shutting down the infection so that those who are most at risk from severe illness, the young, the immunosuppressed, don't get infected. That's really what we're talking about.
The rapid spread of mpox beyond its endemic African region highlights the urgent need for coordinated global response efforts. Thailand's parliament has elected Paetongtarn Shinawatra as the country's new prime minister. At 37, she will be the youngest person to ever hold the office and only the second woman following her aunt Yingluck Shinawatra. Paetongtarn's selection comes shortly after the dismissal of former Prime Minister Sretha Thavisin by a constitutional court.
So yes, on Wednesday I heard the result because I was on a plane flying back from China. So when I, turn on my phone and then I read the news, I felt that almost like I didn't know it was going to happen like this. So yes, I was very sad, and I got back up again, and then I talked to Kun Setha, and I talked to my family, and I talked to a lot of people from my party, and I decided that it's about time to do something for the country and for the party as well. And I hope that I can do my best to, make the country go forward. That's what I try to do. And right now, of course, today I feel very honored and I feel very happy.
Both Thavisin and Paetongtarn are members of the Pheu Thai Party, which, although it finished second in the 2023 general election, succeeded in forming a ruling coalition. As she assumes office, Ms. Paetongtarn faces significant challenges, including addressing Thailand's stagnant economy and managing the political turbulence that has historically plagued the administrations led by her family. Now, this includes overcoming military coups and court interventions that have previously led to the removal of 4 administrations associated with the Shinawatra family. At stake for Paetongtarn could be the legacy and political future of the billionaire Shinawatra family, whose once unstoppable populist juggernaut suffered its first election defeat in over 2 decades last year and had to do a deal with its bitter enemies in the military to form a government. Now, Thailand's parliament elected political neophyte Paetongtarn Shinawatra as its youngest prime minister, only a day after she was thrust into the spotlight amid an unrelenting power struggle between the country's warring elites. Professor Siripan Nogsuwan Sawasdi, a political science professor at the Chulalongkorn University, provided insights into the potential implications for Thailand's political landscape and the challenges facing Paetongtarn.
It's the gamble that seems to be unavoidable for the Shinawatra family if they want to be a formidable player to attain the power through electoral politics. So no one else is better than the members of the family. No one else can connect and speak to their MPs in the party to the establishment above them and to the people that support them. So this is the risk that they obviously willing to take. I think that the challenge now is obviously this economic grievances by the vulnerable of the people. She needs to be frank, straightforward, and move fast to recover economic problems. If the digital wallet, which is the flagship policies proposed and promised during the campaign, have to be terminated, she needs to send the message and explain it well to the public, and a new economic recovery policies needs to be reinstalled and reinstated immediately, and to gain confidence from the foreign investment and from the domestic public at the same time. What we need to monitor is if dissatisfied, the elite will use extra parliamentary method to overthrow the government again, or the challenge for Paetongtarn and the coalition government is to, on the one hand, they need to manage the country well economically. They need to, in a way, reform politics and social structure to the benefits of the people, while at the same time maintaining the balance with the elites in terms of their interests politically and economically. So this is very a big challenge for Paetongtarn. แล้วก็ให้สภาใดสภา
Singapore and the Philippines are strengthening their partnership, focusing on developing healthcare workers' skills and promoting a greener economy. Building on the strong ties between the two nations, Singapore President Tharman Shanmugaratnam highlighted the commitment to cooperation in various areas, including digital transformation and public service. A warm welcome greeted President Tharman this afternoon. A warm welcome greeted President Tharman at the Malacanang Palace in Manila's San Miguel District, and President Marcos Jr. received him with full honors, including an inspection of the guard before officials from both sides entered a bilateral meeting. Now, this visit marks President Tharman's second state visit to an ASEAN country this year and coincides with the 55th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Singapore and the Philippines. The two countries share a strong relationship rooted in robust economic ties, frequent high-level exchanges, and close people-to-people connections.
I really appreciate in Singapore the invaluable contributions of Filipinos working in Singapore in a range of professions, and especially the healthcare workers and frontline personnel who stood shoulder to shoulder with Singaporeans during our fight against COVID-19. Going forward, they are an invaluable part of our workforce, and I'm glad that the MOU we signed together today will be able to expand that relationship.
Our ministries have worked hard on this MOU in order to ensure that a balance is achieved between the needs of the healthcare sector of both countries, as well as the need for personal development and growth of our healthcare workers. Through this MOU, we express our confidence in Singapore's legal and judicial system, which will ensure that the rights, welfare, and well-being of our Kababayan OFWs will be protected as they pursue their careers in Singapore. In addition to the MOU stated above, another MOU on health cooperation is presently being negotiated by our health ministries so that when the contracts of our OFWs are nearing completion, they will be able to reintegrate into the Philippine economy with ease.
In addition, both countries will collaborate on a bilateral framework for the international transfer of carbon credits.
It's a good example of how we get going, get creative, make use of different forms of finance in order to provide streams of finance that make it possible for conservation to take place, for the retirement of polluting industries, but at the same time to generate growth and jobs.
The leaders also discussed the creation of an ASEAN power grid to enhance energy resilience in the region and make renewable energy projects more economically viable.
Another area that President Marcos Jr. and I discussed was the ASEAN Power Grid, a key regional initiative. The Lao PDR, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore Power Integration Project illustrates its feasibility, the feasibility for cross-electricity trade, cross-border electricity trade. And the Philippines is working to establish the Brunei Darussalam Indonesia Malaysia Philippines Power Integration Project. Once we link both those power integration projects together, we would have established the foundations for an ASEAN power grid. Some more work to be done with subsea cables and so on, but it's a very important start, getting these two power integration projects off the ground, operational, and being able to link them together. It will benefit all of ASEAN and will benefit each country individually by providing for more energy resilience and making economically viable the renewable energy projects that each of the ASEAN countries, like the Philippines, is able to embark on.
The two leaders also addressed regional issues, including the South China Sea.
As geographical neighbors in Southeast Asia, the South China Sea, West Philippine Sea holds great importance to both our countries. So we look forward to the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to maintain and to promote peace, security, and stability in the region, as well as our strong support for the peaceful resolution of any such disputes.
The South China Sea is an extremely important issue. Singapore's position, of course, is well known. We've consistently upheld the rights of all states to freedom of navigation and overflight, and strongly supported the peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with international law, including the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. That's fundamental. UNCLOS has to be the legal framework within which all activities in the oceans and seas are carried out.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo highlighted his economic infrastructure and development successes in his final State of the Nation address on Friday, delivered months before he steps down after a decade as head of Southeast Asia's biggest economy. Jokowi, as the president is popularly known, highlighted Indonesia's economic record, pointing to a consistent growth rate of 5% despite global economic headwinds.
Pertumbuhan ekonomi kita terjaga di kisaran 5%, walau banyak negara tidak tumbuh, bahkan melambat. Wilayah Indonesia Timur seperti Papua dan Maluku justru mampu tumbuh di atas 6%. Dan Maluku Utara mampu tumbuh di atas 20%. Inflasi juga terkendali di kisaran 2-3%, saat banyak negara mengalami kenaikan yang luar biasa, bahkan ada yang mencapai lebih dari 200%.
The Indonesian president leaves office with a strong economic record, but is facing mounting criticism about other aspects of his legacy, including the weakening of the judiciary and anti-corruption body and attempts to nurture his own political dynasty. China will support a democratic transition in Myanmar and back a regional plan to find a way out of the ongoing crisis in the Southeast Asian country, Foreign Minister Wang Yi said on Friday during a visit to Thailand.
First, the meeting agreed to enhance cooperation in countering the persistent and escalating non-traditional security threats, in particular transboundary crimes. On this note, I'm pleased to announce that the meeting adopted a joint statement on strengthening cooperation in combating transboundary crimes in the Mekong-Lanchang Cooperation Framework, in particular through data and intelligence sharing, monitoring border controls, and capacity building. Second, the meeting has ensured that human security is at the forefront of our shared commitment.
中老铁路、中泰铁路、京港高速等战略项目持续释放黄金大通道的综合效益。中国同湄公河5国的贸易比10年前翻了一番。
China has promised technical support and aid for conducting a census followed by an election that is currently planned to be held next year. Junta-run media said on Thursday, Myanmar has been in turmoil since February 2021 when the military ousted an elected civilian government in a coup, abruptly ending the impoverished country's tentative steps towards becoming a full-fledged democracy. Amidst the most severe security crisis since World War II, Australia and New Zealand have doubled down on the AUKUS partnership, asserting its vital role in safeguarding the region.
I think there will be opportunities for New Zealand to participate in Pillar 2, just as we've reached out in Japan and other countries particularly can participate on a case-by-case basis. What we're talking about here is technology and its application, and just as interoperability between our two defence forces is a priority and an objective, it makes sense, therefore, when we're considering Pillar 2 of the AUKUS agreement to engage like-minded countries. And it is not surprising that we'll look at any opportunity for including New Zealand in Pillar 2.
Look, we're just recognising that obviously modern warfare has moved into the cyberspace, and should New Zealand come under a severe cyber attack, both countries, we would invoke the arrangements we have under our allies' arrangements, and it's pretty simple. I mean, we can see warfare has changed, and cyber is a very, very large part of it, and so we're just making sure that that is modern and it's reflective of the environment that we operate within and how warfare is undertaken. So. It's a pretty severe cyber attack that we need to see.
New Zealand is not a party to the defense pact between the United States, Australia and Britain, but has been looking to explore a potential collaboration on Pillar 2 of the agreement that focuses on shared military technology. The Pillar 2 of the AUKUS pact is separate from the first pillar designed to deliver nuclear-powered submarines to Australia. The U.S. has said the door was open for New Zealand to engage in AUKUS. Security ties with Australia, New Zealand, only formal defense ally, would remain close, according to Luxon. Both leaders highlighted threats from cyber intrusions and said they would consider hacks as an armed attack if that threatened the territorial integrity, political independence, or security of either nation. We'll be back with more news right after this break.
Whether you're a seasoned athlete or a runner for fun, the Net25 Family Fun Run is for you. With the following run categories: 1K, 3K, 5K, and 10K. Everyone has a reason to run. Simply scan the QR code to secure your spot, and you're done. See you at the Philippine Arena Complex this August 26, 2024. Let's run together with Net25.
Turning to the war in Europe, Russia's Belgorod region has declared a state of emergency following intensified attacks by Ukrainian forces. The governor of Belgorod described the situation as extremely difficult, citing daily cross-border shelling that has led to widespread evacuations of over 100,000 civilians.
Now, the enemy is controlling 28 residential areas. The depth of penetration into the Kursk region is 12 kilometers.
U.S. President Joe Biden has acknowledged the Ukrainian advance into Russia as a challenge for Putin and confirmed ongoing communication with Kiev, although the White House had no prior knowledge of the Ukrainian operation.
It's creating a real dilemma for Putin, and we've been in direct contact, constant contact with the Ukrainians. That's all I'm going to say about it while it's active.
Despite Kiev's provocations, Russian troops continue to advance along the front lines, and that is according to President Putin.
In fact, the speed at which our forces, our troops are progressing in those areas is in fact almost 1.5 times higher than before. Our troops are advancing, and one more obvious goal of the enemy is to sow dissent in our society, to threaten people, to make them afraid, to shatter the unity of our society, to try to attack us politically. But even in that respect, we have a response too. We see that our people are supporting one another. They're supporting their armed forces.
Republican U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump sought to tie his Democratic rival Kamala Harris to the Biden administration's economic record during a meandering 80-minute press conference at his New Jersey golf club. His latest effort to blunt her momentum. Mathay Likeness reports.
The 80-minute rambling event was a rehash of Trump's grievances, ranging from the economy to immigration to complaining about his legal woes. Flanked by tables of grocery items that served as props, Trump blamed his Democratic rival, Vice President Kamala Harris, for rising food prices and inflation.
Harris has just declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority for her. It's going to be day one. But day one, really, for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. Where has she been?
Trump spoke for about 45 minutes before taking softball questions from friendly media outlets. He repeated a number of unsubstantiated claims that he makes on the campaign trail. There was this one about job creation.
Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than beyond the number of 100%. It's a much higher number than that, but the government hasn't caught up with that yet. But virtually right now, as of the time they did this, virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants.
He attacked Harris on the immigration file with this outlandish claim.
She wants to end detention of illegal alien migrants, releasing vicious monsters into our communities to rape, maim, and murder our population.
Repeatedly, Trump insulted Harris, calling her not smart. When a reporter urged him to focus on policy rather than personal attacks, he said,
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president. I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird. It was just a soundbite. And she called J.D. and I weird. He's not weird. He was a great student at Yale.
He also complained about the criminal charges he faces and his conviction in New York State.
They want to put me in prison. It's never happened before in the history of our country. I did nothing wrong.
Following his news conference, Trump hosted an event for Jewish donors and supporters at his Bedminster Golf Club. He blasted Harris, saying she has worked to tie Israel's hands behind its back, always demanding a ceasefire.
Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces who want to destroy Western civilization, but most particularly Israel and Jewish people. And I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America.
Harris is married to a Jew. Trump went on to say Israel will be in danger if he loses the election.
And you'll be okay if you have the right president. You have the wrong president, like her, honestly, you don't have a chance. When you look at the odds, when you look at the map, a map of the Middle East, Israel is a tiny little spot compared to these giant land masses. It's really a tiny spot. I actually said, is there any way of getting more? It's so tiny. It just doesn't look. It's amazing how it can defend itself.
Trump called pro-Palestinian protesters, pro-Hamas thugs, and jihad sympathizers, saying he will arrest and deport them if he's elected. Mathay Likeness, Net 25 World News.
And Mathay Likeness joins us now. Thomas, Mr. Trump seems to be making himself more visible in the past week. Is this a response to the energy surrounding Kamala Harris' campaign, and how well is this playing with the public?
Well, Elma, I think it's wearing thin. In the past 7 days, Trump has held 2 news conferences, one last Thursday at his Mar-a-Lago residence, the other yesterday in New Jersey at his Bedminster Golf Club. On Monday, he yacked for 2 hours with Elon Musk on X, again rehashing his grievances. He then answered a number of softball questions from Musk. Nothing revealing out of that encounter. On Wednesday, it was the typical rally This one was held in North Carolina. Now, all of these events have been an attempt to get him back on TV newscasts, on the front pages of newspapers, and have people talking about him on social media. The problem is, there's nothing new. It's just his greatest hits from a script that really hasn't changed much since his first campaign 8 years ago in 2016. He complains about what America has become, but offers no solutions. You know, in a way, it reminds me of the story of the emperor has no clothes. You remember that fable? Well, here you have a campaign that has no policies, is vacant, and Trump is doing nothing to change that. Most news organizations aren't giving his events top billing. That's going to Kamala Harris, and that is really bothering Trump personally. You see, all of his life, he's reveled in the media attention that he's received, and now he's kind of yesterday's news. And beyond his base, these events are just not playing well. Harris has made gains in the public opinion polls, especially in the so-called swing states, where, up until now, Trump has enjoyed having a lead. His playbook is simply not bringing in new supporters, and in fact, he's losing people. And with less than 3 months till Election Day, the Republicans are going to have to change their strategy if they hope to win. Elma?
Thomas, can Kamala Harris sustain the enthusiasm for her campaign until voters go to the polls, or is this political honeymoon about to come to an end?
Good question, Elma. I would say the Harris-Walz team can probably enjoy at least another week of the excitement, the high energy. The Democratic National Convention is next week in Chicago. But once that is over, the hard part is going to come. Harris is going to have to come up with some policies and some details to go with those policies. She'll also face some tough media interviews. Then there's the September 10th TV debate against Trump. Along the way, there'll be the inevitable mistakes. Voters will be watching to see how the campaign responds to mitigate any damage. And then there's the dreaded October surprise. That's a news event that, in the weeks before the election, could influence the outcome of the November 5th vote. And it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. It's just not something you can plan for. So again, my rule about politics, anything can happen, and probably will. Truly, for political junkies like me, the next couple of months are going to be very interesting. Alma?
Thank you for your insights, and it's clear that the next few weeks will be crucial for both campaigns. Thanks, Thomas. And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on Net 25 World News, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.
This